Good morning, wrestling fans. Welcome to the Pain Clinic for for February 7th. Yes, we are in a new month. We are in the month of February, 1 week before Valentine's Day. So kudos to you. And the day before some super game going on. But welcome to the show. I'm the Cashman, and a couple holidays today, real quick. It's Eat Ice Cream for Breakfast Day. That happens a couple times during the year. We love that. National Fettuccine Alfredo Day. Send a card to a friend day. And then wave all your fingers at your neighbors. Not just one, all your fingers. So check those are the holidays today. Birthdays today. Talatonga. You might have seen him wrestle, I think. No, recently. I don't know. Talatonga's 35, part of the whatever they are, MFTs on SmackDown, sometimes on Raw, but the Talatonga is 35. Hey, interested in roller derby, want to be a skater, officiate Rock City Roller Derby needs you, contact recruitment at rockderbyrecruitment at gmail.com and join Rock City Roller Derby. If you're the men's team, Flower City Fear, FLOUR, Flower City Fear. Welcome to the show. I am your humble host, the Cashman. I'm joined by DC Dan Cole. I see DC. There you are, DC. How's it going?
Cold. Not as cold as it is up there, but it's cold.
Yeah, it's I'm not sure what it is now, but threats of minus 20 wind chill. I am not excited about that.
You can have it. It's all yours.
Yeah, especially if you got to go out and do something in it. So it's which is even worse. But hey, yes, you got the weather report section of the pain clinic out of the way very quickly. So it is terrible here in Western New York. I'm sure it's cold down in North Carolina, not as cold as up here. Uh, you know, um, which is I am told that SmackDown was in Raleigh yet last night, so they were down there in North Carolina as well. But
Charlotte, I think.
or was it I'm sorry, Charlotte? Yeah, not Charlotte.
But I think they're coming back for, I think they're doing Raleigh like a couple weeks before WrestleMania.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, that's right. They announced Raleigh, so they're down in that area, not around here, of course, as well. But DC, how you doing? How was your little vacay you went on? Nice.
It was nice, but then you come back to a freaking blizzard, which I had to drive home through, which was not great. So, like, any of the relaxation I had accumulated seeped out of my white knuckles gripping a steering wheel,
Yeah,
trying to
it's not
find
like
the
it's
lone pair of tire tracks all the way home.
that's scary. It's not like you didn't live up here, but man, it's real easy to forget about living up here once you get someplace.
It's I clearly the clear difference is people really don't know how unprepared states like North Carolina are for something like this.
Oh yeah.
Like there are not plows out when it's snowing. They will get to you eventually when it's done.
That's what's scary is we have a salt shortage right now going on up here, and this last blast was had very little salt because people are waiting on it. But I mean, I was watching, and I told this the artiste last week, or Rob Sanderson, last week that I saw a news story from Atlanta where they were mixing sand and the salt they have because they were preparing for the worst down there a couple weeks ago. Any snow in Atlanta is the worst. Yeah, they're absolutely not prepared for it. None of the airports are either. So it's
So 2 weeks ago we got an ice storm. Last week we got a snowstorm. Now today, this weekend, we have a windstorm.
yeah. So that's the problem with us is we're not getting a lot of snow here. It's just we're getting wildly cold temperatures and wind. So it is not, yeah, it's not a day to go outside. They were supposed, they actually, it's so cold today that they actually canceled the Winterfest that they were going to have in Irondequoit. They do every year, and it's like
How do you cancel a Winterfest due to winter?
I don't know. I was so excited because I've gone to it multiple times when there's no snow at all. So, and then they finally get snow, and it's like, oh, it's too cold. But I mean, they'll cancel school because it's too cold. Because if you don't have a busing district, and kids have to walk, and it's minus 20, they will cancel it.
I don't think the kids down here have been in school for 2 weeks.
Wow, it's been that shut down.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Well, let's talk about all sorts of fun wrestling things. And actually, while we're at, I'm going to tease some of the things we're going to talk about today. I want to go, obviously, the Rumble, AJ Styles' future. Ciampa is now a belt holder 1 week into his career in AEW. I want to talk a little bit about Rumble and some of the things that happened around it too. And Joe Henry, now WWE champion. So first off, might as well jump right into the Rumble. Nothing groundbreaking. I mean,
Come on, wasn't it the start of a new era for like the third time in 14 months?
yeah. Well, it's funny is, everyone and everyone and Las Vegas were betting on Braun Breaker to win that, and he made it into the ring for about what 4 seconds, and then immediately got. Obviously, he was attacked by a cloaked figure. We're going to do that again because we haven't thought up anything newer to do. So we have to, oh yeah, that went so well the first time. Let's do it again. And it's like you're just, that's poor writing. That's poor booking,
Not to derail the discussion already. Is it too early to call Triple H a fraud?
Yeah, I don't know because we loved him so much when he was in NXT.
But
And it's
honestly, what has he done, or what has he created that he didn't inherit from Vince?
a good question. I mean, I think he probably would take credit for the push that Braun Breaker's getting, which is a monster push. Don't get me wrong. Braun Breaker, but then you have something like the Royal Rumble happen. And it's like the guy, comes out number two and gets thrown out immediately. So it's like, I
Well,
think,
he had to come out at number two because they spoiled the fact that he was going
yeah.
to be number one on SmackDown.
Well, then they wrote a little story into it with Paul Heyman going nuts on him over it. And yeah, yeah, it's funny is that, I'm tired of the winner of the Royal Rumble getting a shot at WrestleMania. There's got to be better ways to build up a main event of WrestleMania than doing that. And then giving the second night, thank goodness we've got second night of WrestleMania. So now we can do the Elimination Chamber winner gets a shot at the title too. What do you do during the regular season? You build up these stories with these guys. You don't have to win anything. You just create a rivalry, and then but then when it comes Royal Rumble time, it's like you throw out the rules for 3 months. It's like, okay, now you have an opportunity to earn something. It's like you can't earn it any other way except for to win the Royal Rumble. So it was I was highly disappointed in the Royal Rumble, both of them. It was as soon as I saw Roman Reigns come out as late as he did, it was over. It's like, oh well, yeah, there goes I thought Cody Rhodes was going to win it. I know they're going to find some way to get Cody into it, and it may be this elimination chamber thing. But I just it wasn't a great Rumble. I don't care if the guy says, the guy who's in charge says, it's another start of a new, new what, I mean, you have the same four. They're protecting the same four top guys. That's what they're doing, and it's the same four top guys who are been the same four top guys for quite a long time. So you're right. Triple H is not really innovative in anything. I mean, he was in NXT. He allowed those guys to do what they could do best. He just can't do that when he's like, booking Raw and SmackDown. What do you think, DC?
Yeah, I agree. Um, Again, I'm not actively watching WWE. I
Yep.
read about what happens. The Royal Rumble seemed very underwhelming,
Yeah.
um, which is surprising too, because I feel like they tend to, the blood money's good, so I feel like they tend to pull out more stops over there. So it was very surprising to really not
Well, I mean, the two
get
biggest
any
shocks.
surprises.
Yeah,
What was it?
the two biggest shocks were Oba Femi in there and Brie Bella. I mean, those were people that nobody really. I mean, obviously Oba Femi with the promos they've been doing that he's eventually going to obviously be something big. But it's now he's a man of the walk. He does the walk is his signature, and it's like it's so dumb.
WWE is all about your gimmick.
Yeah, yeah. No,
Yeah,
I
so I
agree.
guess I guess walking to the beat of your own music is going to get you over.
Yeah. I feel bad because I mean I love the guy's good and they did do a little tease off of him and Lesnar, which would be awesome because they both are about the same size. But there's things in the Rumble that were like Lesnar no sold for the 10 minutes he was in there, absolutely no sold everything.
And then gets eliminated off camera.
Yeah, 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 and so. there is, just some big question marks. And it's like, I know it's, you got 30 guys in a match, or 20 guys in a match, whatever it is. Or it is 30. So there's not a lot of, when you can hide guys in the United States, bringing in special people. You can't do it when you're on the other side of the planet. It's like, hey, what are you doing this weekend? Want to be in the Rumble? You got to fly to, you got to fly to Saudi Arabia. I'm guessing, and they did, Triple H, in the post show interview acted like nothing was wrong. Like it was perfect. Start of a new era.
He's very good at tuning out the very vocal criticisms of his work.
Well, they're chanting Y2J behind him. And who cares? I don't want to see Y2J. So what? I'm not I think we've had some Y2J burnout from AEW. And AEW has been doing so well without him. And I listen, I like Chris a lot. He's got a great mind for wrestling. But he can't, when he's in there, he's the center figure. And it's like, how many new factions did he make when he was in AEW? How many,
He had the Inner Circle, he had the Jericho Appreciation Society, the Learning Tree.
Yeah.
Was that it? Was it those three?
And those were after he was a solo star for a while, and then he started picking up people. So, but I don't think I'm glad he didn't show up, and I'm glad other people didn't show up because you do have your own roster, but people didn't get in it. Like Finn Balor wasn't in it, Aleister Black wasn't in it. Apparently, Aleister Black. I heard these are just rumors, but I heard
tattoo rumor.
The what?
The tattoo rumor.
Yes, the tattoo rumor that he's got religious tattoos on his body that would put off the people of Saudi Arabia. I don't know if it's true. I mean, he was back.
Oh, come on, they're so progressive there now.
He was back last night with no problem on SmackDown. Yeah, they are so. Well, listen, the Women's Royal Rumble, it was like I enjoyed. That's one thing I enjoyed about it was the way that they the bodysuits they created for all the women wrestlers, because there are some cool ones in there. Someone came out and looked like Cyclops from the cartoon X-Men with the yellow strap and thing on his chest. That was really cool. And then there was the 5150 Candice LeRae did with the Eddie Van Halen guitar. There were some really neat bodysuits. I thought it was pretty cool. I mean, even though it's much better than the potato sacks they were wearing the last couple of years. But yeah, overall, I did not watch it live. I watched it in a couple different stretches, and my favorite part of the whole pay-per-view was AJ Styles versus Gunther, and unfortunately I kind of knew what was going to happen. I mean, especially when Shinsuke Nakamura a week before had a whole Instagram post with AJ saying he was done at the Rumble and then had to strike it because no one else knew that until he put it up. But they're friends. AJ Styles is friends with everybody. AJ Styles is a great talent. He's 48. He doesn't look 48, that's for sure. He's a young looking man for that age. This is his last year. And like Rob said last week when we were talking, he may not be with WWE as he continues his last year, but you'll see him. He'll be at some places. He's not done yet. After the match, yes, he lost the same way John Cena lost in the sleeper hold.
But he didn't smile when he did it.
No, he didn't. And then he started to take his gloves off, took them off, was going to put them in the center of the ring, and then put them back on and left. You know what that means? He's not done yet. He's definitely not done yet. Even though he got interviewed by Stephanie McMahon after the match, talking about his retirement. It's like it's obvious that he's got a few stops before he's done, and even if he's going to do one more year, he has a few stops before he's done. So I'm hoping an AEW appearance happens, maybe more than one. There's so many fantasy matchups with people in AEW that we would like to see, and it's like, and he's never really got. I mean, when he was part of when he was part of the Bullet Club, those were most of the people we'd like to see him wrestle, and now all of them are in AEW. So what do you think about AJ Styles? Do you have any thoughts on, the ending of his WWE time?
I don't know. I'm torn. I kind of wish it's almost like he knew he was going to retire. and he had the unfortunate luck of planning his retirement at the same time John Cena was.
Yeah.
So he's kind of been maybe on like the silent retirement tour. But yeah, I don't think he's done. I He's gonna end up somewhere else. I'd love to see him in AEW because there's so many matchup possibilities there.
Yeah.
Um, love to see him go to New Japan for a little bit. My fear is it's going to be TNA,
Yeah, because of that little
and
that day he showed up there where he talked about he's like going in the backstage area and looking at people and going, yeah, having some thoughts going on. But I think
where he wasn't going to talk a lot because there was a lot of wrestling to get to, and
I
in a
don't
2 hour show there were 3 matches.
yeah, I don't think and I don't think I think he has bad feelings about TNA still because of the way his career ended. So I you could tell when he was in the ring, he didn't want to be in there very long and he wasn't very long. But I mean, he also refused to be put in their Hall of Fame. So he's you know, I'm guessing more than once because it's been a couple of years since we heard about that. So yeah, he you know, maybe AEW, but maybe I don't know, maybe some big indies he will wants to go because he wants to say goodbye to people. WWE is not really touring, you know, and so you know, I mean, relatively, it's very small amount of live events they're doing. They're doing a bunch up to WrestleMania, and then we've seen nothing after that. So yeah, you know, so
And I don't think he could do a retirement tour like that with WWE just because of how controlling WWE is.
I mean, they got mad at John Cena for rewriting his intro, you know, for
Yeah.
AJ's intro. So, you know, it's
I,
like
I would assume that AJ would have a lot more freedom to do whatever he wants in this last year if he were to go to a place like AEW.
yeah.
Or he'd be like,
Oh,
yeah, do whatever you want.
you know, Omega's on the phone with him, you know, as soon as he left, it's like, yeah, we need to have you here. Come here, and we need to, you know, there's a couple guys that we'd love to match you up with. Heck, he could even retire at All In, you know, at the end, you know, their big show. You know, I mean, and you know that guys who run AEW love AJ Styles. You know, I mean, they're big fans of his everywhere he went. You know, he's been everywhere too. So yeah, I'm kind of depressed because he still is doing it at an incredible rate. You know, I mean, that match with John Cena he had was amazing. You know, and he still can do that with people. He can. I mean, you know. Maybe Brian Danielson will come out of retirement and wrestle AJ Styles. AJ had some good matches with him in WWE, you know, and so I mean, really the best on the pay per view every time they wrestled. So there's, you know, I not that I want him to come out of retirement. I understand he has some issues, but you know, there's still a lot of quality guys over there, you know, that he hasn't wrestled too. So I'm just bummed we don't get to see him anymore. And you know, they did have that tag run he did there right towards the end, so he gets some you know, honored and everything. I mean, he's definitely a guy who will go eventually into the WWE Hall of Fame, even though he's, you know, I mean, but right now with their close relationship with TNA, it's a no brainer. I mean, if that ever falls apart, maybe that'll change. I don't know, but you know, I mean, I was always telling, I was telling some people that I know that man, when we were doing the show and TNA was still trying to, you know, get a foothold in wrestling fans' lives, he would come on. He came on a few times, you know, and he was a great guy, you know. I mean,
Even though you guys stalked him at a gas station.
yeah, we stalked him at the gas station. It's on the video. We have a video that's on our Facebook page if you look at it, because we were in the ring with him when we told him we were stalking him, you know. And it was him and Joe and Christopher Daniels all in a car together, or someone else too, probably Kaz, I think. So, but yeah, and then that, but the, you know, even before that, when he did an interview. He was in town wrestling for Upstate Wrestling, and he did a little interview before that show, and he was like with his kids at a park, and one of them fell down and got hurt. He goes, "Oh, there's blood. I gotta go." That's how the interview ended. So I gotta find it. I want to put that up, but you know, he's definitely, you know, he's like one in a kind, and you know, John Cena before the pay-per-view started last weekend posted like 3 giant AJ style pictures on his Instagram. So they all knew it was over at the end of that. They all knew that he was done. And it's like, which is a shame. You know, I mean, I thought maybe they'd throw a wrench in it and let him stay around a while and let him win. But, you know, Gunther's becoming, you know, he is now the new career killer or legend killer or whatever they want to call him. You know, they've added that to his name now. And there's one more for him to go after, I guess, Brock Lesnar, because Brock Lesnar's talking about retiring too. So, uh,
Good.
yeah, that's not absolutely an issue. No problem. Yeah, go ahead, do them, take them out. You know, but yeah. So just to finish up on the Rumble, it's I'm not going to say it's the worst one ever, but it was there was nothing that nothing that I marked out totally like Brie Bella. I don't know. I mean, it's like
See, but
it's
now
interesting.
that they're on that new platform and you have to pay, to me, they should hold themselves to a bit higher level. Because in my mind, what I read, you'd be crazy to pay $30 for that.
Oh yeah, there's five matches, and there was two pre-show matches, five matches, and yeah,
In a stadium that, due to the setup, looked like it was entirely empty, which could it
yeah.
have been? Or was it full?
I did
Who
want to mention
knows?
that they built that stadium. They started building that stadium on Christmas Eve for that pay-per-view.
36 days they built that thing.
Yeah, and the amazing thing is WWE doesn't want to do what they did, which was put the lights in the top of the chairs. So, because it looks empty, because it has an appearance of looking empty. It looked empty. I mean, obviously, it looked empty. You could hear the crowd, and
It sounded empty.
yeah, and the only time you could ever tell there actually were people in those seats is when they had like lower shots with the camera guys were out in the crowd a little bit, a couple times. But and the funny thing is, the next day they had cranes in to wreck the stadium. So, I was like, that's amazing. That's amazingly wasted money. But because I mean, I assume they'd keep it till since Mania is going to be there next year. Why not leave it up? But it only held like what 24,000, I think they said something like
It's
that.
pretty tiny for them.
Yeah, yeah. But
I
you
would
know,
assume they have to have a much bigger arena in mind for WrestleMania.
so one more thing about that, this, besides the fact that it looked like it was cold there. It was night, obviously, but when it was all over, they were blowing fireworks, these giant ground fireworks, and they were doing them off the top of buildings in Riyadh. And someone wrote, I think it was Jim Cornette, and I don't want to quote him, but he said these were all going off at 2 a.m. And if you looked at the video shot, it looked like the city was being blown up. There was fireworks coming off the top of all these different buildings. He felt that maybe that wasn't the best thing to do when you're in the Middle East. And it looks like, you got to go back and catch that video of just those shots they were doing. It's like, I thought I was seeing things. It's like, are they shooting major fireworks off the top of like 100-story buildings? And they were. So it was, that's how they ended the whole thing. I could not watch the press conference. I just saw the highlights of it and the boos and the boos and the boos that were coming. And poor Triple H had to, pretend not to hear it but
The thing is, though, he doesn't have to do this,
yeah.
but he has an insatiable ego.
Oh, he's got to put his voice on everything. And then boy, it's going to be a lot of editing when they get rid of him because they know nothing lasts forever, and, I still think that they are in a creative bind right now. I don't feel they're not making new stars. Thank God they got Punk over there because Punk, even when we don't like Punk, he's still very popular. And the next pay-per-view, the Elimination Chamber is in Chicago, though Punk, he was a champ. He didn't do anything at the Royal Rumble. I mean, it's very interesting to see this path they're going towards WrestleMania, but it looks like it's going to, well, we already know it's going to be Reigns and Punk one of the nights, and it's probably going to be um, Drew McIntyre is going to probably hold the belt until WrestleMania, either Cody or Jacob Fatu or both in a three-way for that title. But there's so many great opportunities. Like Sami Zayn had an opportunity to take. He apparently really pitched to have him win at the Royal Rumble to beat Drew McIntyre, but it wasn't in their plans. Even though he tried very very hard to see to get a lot of rumors now are that he's going to win it next year when they are at WrestleMania there next year, because it might make sense. But it's like, man, if you want to wait around a year, I don't know. He was something hot and hot property. Never really did anything when he was the hottest he was. Lost in Montreal to Roman Reigns. I don't. So
He's
it's
not going to get any hotter than he was right then.
yeah, yeah, and it's a shame because the only thing actually I like is I don't like Reigns and I don't like Punk, but I like to see them destroy each other. So that might be a good thing, especially when Reigns cuts this whole promo and he goes, you know what, I hate you, and he proceeds to run down even when they were forced to work together how much he hated him, like when they were in the Hell in the not Hell in the Cell, the War Games match, and when they had to get Punk to help him and everything, because and Punk, I love it in this promo last week. He said that Punk felt that he everything Roman did was stuff that he did first, like being associated with Paul Heyman, winning the title, holding it for long days. It was really interesting the build up that's going to be for this match and stuff. But coming out of the Royal Rumble, I just wish we would negate the winner of the Rumble gets an automatic shot, because it wasn't always the case then, but it has been for such a long time. It's I think and we've seen him swerve on that before too. I almost thought the way that Lesnar was throwing people out when he came in, that he was going to win it at some point too, and that's definitely something nobody wants to see. Maybe except for him. But it was an interesting. It was not the worst outcome for a Royal Rumble, but I didn't care for the pay-per-view in general. And it's a shame because, maybe I'm holding hard feelings against them doing it on the other side of the planet, and it probably has a lot to do with that, especially since America is going through such a rough time right now, and we definitely need
Just
some.
upset that we couldn't gamble on it this year.
I know that too. We didn't, yeah, it's the first year in like what, 15 that we have not, and more, 15 or more that we didn't gamble. Yeah, yeah, that's true. I didn't gamble with anybody on it. I could have, yeah, but everyone thought it was gonna be Braun Breaker, and unfortunately, if you bet down in Vegas, you lost your money. So, because you could bet in Vegas on the Royal Rumble, but being here, neither here nor there, we'll see how they get to WrestleMania. So it definitely is. They've got a roll ahead of them. They got a pay-per-view is it Backlash? No, what is it? Well, I know it's going to have the Elimination Chamber in it. I think they call it Backlash, but and that's like at the end of
Well,
February.
Backlash was post WrestleMania.
Oh no, maybe I'm wrong. I can't remember which one. What the
Did they still do Fastlane?
uh, the next one. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Let's see.
It says Elimination Chamber. Yeah, that's what they're calling it. Sorry, they're calling it the Elimination Chamber. So
But there has to be something in between, right?
that's
Because
it.
WrestleMania is late this year.
Yeah, I know. It's the 20th, is it?
No, according to what I'm seeing online, there's nothing between the Elimination Chamber on February 28th and WrestleMania April 18th.
Wow. Yeah. They'll probably have a Saturday night's main event in there to tide them over, I'm guessing. But yeah, they're heavily pushing the tickets now. I think that they're realizing, that I think we're having a come to Jesus moment with WWE right now, when they're realizing that they're outpricing their fans and uh and doing
People are
things.
still paying, so they're not going to change anything.
Yeah, well, so that's the Royal Rumble. Now I want to talk about some other things. So it's like one of the other things I want to talk about, we did talk about AJ Styles as well. Um uh how about we've got Mr. Ciampa, Tommaso Ciampa, showing up a week ago, and then last Dynamite last week, Tommaso Ciampa picks up a title, a off of well, a friend of his apparently. But DC, you weren't here when we talked about him showing up. What do you think?
I love it. I absolutely love it. I figured he might do an independent tour for a little bit. I did not see him immediately going to AEW, but when you read some recent interviews he's done, it feels like this was his plan all along.
Yeah.
Um, he said he definitely felt like this is where he wanted to be. So I'm for it. And to have a big debut like that and to win the title right off the bat,
Yeah.
it doesn't hurt Briscoe.
Nope.
It gets a ton of eyes on AEW. It kind
I'll
of slap in the face to WWE. Here's a guy you've pretty much wasted the last 5 years.
They had great numbers for Collision last weekend too, opposite the Royal Rumble. Well, the
Yep.
Royal Rumble was earlier, but I mean,
But
still,
still,
it was yeah. They had the best numbers they've had in a long time on a Saturday. That's a good sign. Maybe it's a sign also that there's no football going on too. That probably has a lot to because there's this big game tomorrow. But
let's not talk about it.
yeah. Well, hopefully it ends quick, but and the commercials are great. I hear there's going to be some great Marvel movie previews that are going to show up during it.
Like,
So
are crisis centers braced for what's going to happen in Western New York if the Patriots win?
yeah. Stefan Diggs is going to get a title before Josh Allen. Oh,
The
danger.
Patriots
Yeah,
have rebuilt
I
and
don't care.
won
I mean,
again before the Bills.
listen. I like Drake May. I like him because one, he would have been in Washington if they didn't pick Jaden Daniels. I mean, he was like the next quarterback that they would have taken, and he was in a pro set in college, and he comes up and he's doing great. But I don't think the defense of Seattle is so much better than that offense of New
To root
England.
for the Patriots. I cannot have the Seahawks winning a Super Bowl at the
I know,
49ers stadium.
I know, and I think it's going to happen though because
I
their defense
know.
is
Yeah,
so
I'm not
good.
optimistic.
I'm just surprised Matt Darnold actually, would win ones. But you know what? I could be wrong about the guy. I thought he was a huge failure after last year with Minnesota, and then he comes to Seattle and goes to the Super Bowl with a new coach. So, oops, I said the wrong word. I shouldn't say that. The big game. I'm not promoting it. So but so yeah, so that's going on this weekend. Super excited. Actually, that'll be fun because I since I don't have a dog in a fight, I just sit back and watch commercials. We got a visitor joining us a little bit late right now. In just a moment, Rob Sanderson will be with us. And Rob, I see you there. I know sometimes it takes a second or two for your microphone to pick up, but we do have Rob Sanderson. And just make a peep noise when you're ready to talk because we're just getting done with the Royal Rumble, and I'm sure you probably saw some of that.
He loved it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I'm sure. Yeah. There you are. Hey, Rob.
I just heard something about loving the Royal Rumble, which is not me. I'm assuming that was about me, but
Yeah.
can't love something you don't watch. So
That's true, but you've probably seen the results. So I mean, and we did kind of go
I
through a
actually
lot.
saw fake results first.
Oh, that,
Like there was some post on Twitter or something that had said Gunther had won the Royal Rumble, like after beating Styles as well. And I was like, well, that's weird. Obviously that's not what happened, but maybe it would have been better. I don't know.
yeah. Hey, while we're at it, you and I talked about Styles last week, and about what was going to happen. What do you think he's doing next? I mean, with the way he ended, and I'm sure taking his gloves off, he's going to put him in the center of the ring and then putting him back on and leaving the ring. Obviously, to me, that means he's not done. I think hopefully that meant that to other people too. But what do you think about where he's going? What's he going to do? We get some fantasy matchups coming.
Sure hope so. I really don't know. I mean, I I don't know why you would put the gloves back on and stuff if you weren't going to do something else. My hope is that that's not some like other WWE thing. I didn't see that match, which I mean, I don't love the idea of not seeing the final AJ Styles match if that were the case,
Well, you
but
made a point last week. You said, why would he have his last match on the other side of the planet? In the middle of a desert.
I don't know. I mean, I guess I like it's not super shocking that he would maybe like I don't know like I he's one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, obviously. I don't necessarily agree with him on everything, but I really hope that he has at least one more match outside of WWE. I don't care where. Um, I would I would prefer AEW, but New Japan, even TNA, like I don't really feel the need to see him in like Kazarian, to be honest, but I'd rather see that over nothing. I just would really there's too many possibilities left. And if he this was going to be his final year, it didn't mean that like his first match in the first month of 2026 had to be it. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think he's done, but I don't think there's much left. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we get one more match and that's it or something. I don't expect him to go on a whole like tour or anything like that. So
Well, I mean, he can pick and choose. Obviously, he probably has enough money to live the rest of his life with no issues. So he probably doesn't need to work, I'm guessing. I think his wife is a school teacher too. She might be retired as well. But he can pick and choose what he wants to do. And it's like, he's got so many friends over in AEW that, it wouldn't surprise me in the least if he like you know, came in for a short run there, maybe up till All In or something, who knows? Well, no, I mean, you know what? It's like the weird thing is he had an interview with Stephanie McMahon after he had lost and retired. And I've not watched it because, well, first of all, I won't, they force those podcasts down our throats every week on TV multiple times. And so I would like to see what he said, but I don't want to listen to Stephanie McMahon. So, but he did do an interview with her after he lost, and so well, I don't know. Maybe I'll.
yeah, I wasn't gonna watch that. But I don't know. There's so many possibilities. Like he's somebody who has obviously just so many things he can bring to the table, but he's also somebody another person like Cena that I believe that like if uh if he's wrapping up, I think that that could be it. I don't know if he wants to do coaching or things like that, but he hasn't really, from what I've seen, he hasn't lost much of a step, at this point, and he deserves to have something bigger than just tapping out or whatever in Saudi Arabia on the mid card of a show. Like, and maybe that's not, maybe he doesn't belong higher on the card than that in WWE, but imagine if he, comes in and does one match and like loses in a main event at Wembley to Will Ospreay or something. Like, give us that one. Like, he can go somewhere and do a huge match like that, which would be uh, I mean, obviously WWE is the biggest stage in wrestling, but that would be the biggest crowd he would have ever main evented in front of, and he easily can be put on that spot. And I don't think anybody in AEW would have a problem with that. He deserves that. He is that good. He's put in that kind of legacy that he deserves more than just being part of Gunther's overall like whatever they're doing with him.
Legend
And
killer, yeah.
yeah, I mean, I like Gunther, but like this is and I don't care about Goldberg and stuff, but like it's still like where is this going to go? Is it really going to benefit him? Are they really going to like turn him into their top star? I don't I don't know. I mean, maybe that's the hope, but will they get there? I don't know. I don't know if he has that kind of like charisma and stuff to be like the top guy. So,
I was reading something that WWE has four wrestlers who are they consider their top guys, and Gunther's not one of them. There's obviously Roman Reigns, CM Punk right now, Drew McIntyre, Cody Rhodes. I think those are the other two. And so if you want to get Gunther up into that echelon, maybe he does retire Brock Lesnar, which there's been talks about he could be the next one of the guys that he takes out, which I don't have a problem with. You know what? Let him go home. Go home and do your thing. You know, I've seen some funny stuff with Lesnar recently. He actually does some funny stuff backstage. I mean, you catch him not in character. So, but I think I'm bummed about AJ, but I think that he obviously, as soon as he took his gloves off, I go, if he leaves him in the ring, he's done. But he put him back on, so it was like, okay, he's not done. He's got he's got a couple more things. Yeah, Osprey would be awesome. I mean, there's guys he tagged with, in the Bullet Club that he's never really wrestled. I mean, Omega, a lot of those guys, he could have a series of matches with those guys. So
The last ever time he was in the ring with the Bucks was 2CW. So it's been a long time. He could
yeah,
do. I would love to see them do one more thing together. So I was only going to pop in quick, but quick shout out to USA Women's Hockey head coach John Wroblewski, the former Amerks assistant, on a fantastic sport coat this morning. So
I have not seen. Is I got turned on. I was going to say,
USA and Finland is dropping the puck right now.
I watched the Czech game. What was it? Thursday, I think. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. The Czech
Thursday.
game. One thing I want to throw out there: the flag bearer for the American team during the opening ceremonies was someone I've actually interviewed on my roller derby show because she plays roller derby. Her name is Erin Jackson. She also won the gold medal in the short sprint speed skating the last Olympics, and she got to carry the flag out yesterday, which was really, really cool. And, but she does have a history in roller derby. So I wanted to throw that out there, as well as Kelly Kincaid, who's just leaving the WWE right now. She played roller derby too. So I don't know if Kelly
I was
Kincaid.
going to say
Quinn
kudos
McKay.
too to the American bobsled team for their stance on ice.
Yeah.
With 3 of the 4 of them deciding not to participate in their run.
I didn't know if you were making a stance on ice. Like, I don't know if that was a joke or a serious thing. I didn't realize, like, I don't remember what else I was watching instead. But then
Is there any more like perfect emblematic state of America than the bobsled team? Three of the 4 crashing into a wall and not making it into the sled.
Yeah, I didn't realize like the opening ceremonies. Like, I guess maybe I don't normally pay attention to them, but when I like put on the replay and it was like 3 hours and 22 minutes, like,
Yeah. No. Introducing the teams was like 2 hours of it. And the other part was the giant circles floating in the air.
We made it to like those giant tubes of paint or whatever, and I was like, all right, I'm good.
Yeah.
Or if Mariah Carey was after that, I don't know.
Mariah Carey. Oh my God. Mariah Carey was early in the ceremony. Okay.
She's supposed to be in hibernation right now. What the hell?
I know. She wasn't coming out singing Christmas songs, was she? No. But yeah, Quinn McKay, you're right about that. Yeah, used to be in Ring of Honor and doing.
Did she ever get to do any like main roster TV work at all?
She just did backstage interviews on NXT.
I know she was doing like that. What was that show I never saw? Level Up or whatever.
That's how she started with Level Up. Yeah. 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 Well, I discovered she did roller derby and we had her on the roller derby show before she got signed by WWE, before like everything happened, where now she's had a baby with one of the pretty boys or whatever they are.
Elton Prince, I think.
Elton Prince, the one who's hurt. Yeah. Not toxic masculinity, dude. So, but yeah. So we were saying, oh yeah, where were we? So we were talking about the Olympics there for a second. Yeah, it's I got to turn it on. Is it only on Peacock they're running it live?
I don't know for sure. That's what I put on because I didn't. It was quicker to just do that than even look and see if it's on actual NBC or not. But you would think it. Like, what else does NBC have that's that important at 10:40 a.m. Eastern? But
I'm watching it now too. There we go. It's on.
I like that fan's pink hair. Yeah, it's and not to go on the big hockey tangent, but this is like the women's hockey specifically is very interesting to me this year, especially like I have a lot of history with calling these specific women, and a lot of them, this is going to be their final Olympics probably, which makes me feel so old because most of them I met calling their games when they were on the US under 18 team 16 years ago, and then again in 2015 and some tournaments and stuff. But I love that John Wroblewski is the head coach of the Olympic team. Such a good dude. People loved him when he was in Rochester, and he was actually like my reference that the job in Chicago like called and spoke with or whatever to get me that job. And that we crossed paths a lot when he was with Youngstown and with the U.S. National Team Development Program and stuff. So not to go too far, but it's it's a lot of interest. I'm hoping that I have as much interest in the men's tournament, once that starts on Thursday or whatever. But
I have a friend of mine who's doing the women's announcing. So Danielle, her name is, I can't remember, Ponticelli, I think it is. She's been doing some women's games already on the Olympics. So it probably pays well, I'm guessing, you know.
well, and I like that NBC at least brought over like Kenny Albert and AJ Malesko and Catherine Tappan and Jackie Redmond. I saw was putting up a vlog of her going over there for 3 weeks. But unfortunately, a lot of the games are still some of the other people I know that are calling some games are doing so from the studio in the is theirs in Stanford too? I think it's still in Stanford,
ESPN,
um,
yeah.
which is just frustrating. There's no how many people are watching the Olympics? Like, just fly your talent over there. I can't stand the remote calls because hopefully they're less obvious to everybody else, but I certainly immediately notice if somebody's calling a game remotely. So at least other sports haven't jumped on that as much. I mean, can you imagine if, like, I don't know, even pro wrestling, but it's probably be easier if pro wrestling did that than like a real sport, but still would hate it. So
Yeah. So the girl I know that's doing it also does the National Women's Hockey
the PWHL,
yeah, PWHL. Yeah.
the
So
P Dub,
PW.
yeah,
I think she does strictly like a lot of the Toronto area, Toronto and Hamilton. I think some of the teams that are up in that area, but yeah. So it's that's actually it's cool because they what's the one girl's name? Is it Kelly? Is her last name that scored a bunch on the first game I watched? Very good team. I mean, when you put in 30 shots, someone was betting that that when they played Czech, that Czech was going that the Americans were going to have more shots on goal. Listen, well, I can't remember what the bet was. It was like there was, believe me, America had like over 30 shots on goal compared to like 11 for Czech at one point, and so it was like just a very dominating game. But they only won 5-1, so I can imagine it could have been worse. But yeah,
yeah.
this is
I don't know if
Olympic.
you're talking Megan Keller, maybe she had a big game.
Maybe that's it. Yeah.
Haley Skamura. I have to assume this is Hillary Knight's final
Oh, it's Hillary Knight who had
Olympics.
2 goals in the game. Yeah, she had.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she continues to be incredible. So,
she said she's
um,
retiring after it. Yeah. So the Olympics are exciting, and they're going to make SmackDown go to Sci-Fi for 2 weeks, starting this week. So, but yeah, this is an exciting time. So let me get to some stuff, and then we'll get out of here. But I appreciate you stopping in there, Rob, and stay as long as you want.
well, and I think it's fair to say, like, with how much people care about, and maybe that's hypocritical to say on a wrestling show, but like people care so much about ratings or whatever. These next few weeks, you got to give all of these companies a little bit of a break when the Olympics are on, in terms of, oh my God, like their viewership. Like, I'm sure AEW will go down a little on Wednesday. I'm sure SmackDown will go down if they're not on their actual channel and stuff.
Yeah,
Like,
they're not.
so
But they like pumped out a couple title shots that are going to be happening on next week's show just to make hopefully people will like use that as an incentive to change to the Sci-Fi channel instead of
so
you.
then that'll be the normal discourse that happens there, where it's just like, uh, oh, they're only doing that because they need to get ratings, or I can't believe they put that match on a night that nobody's going to watch. Like, it's what people do with Collision every single week, where it's just like Collision sucks, and then people like Collision gets a really good match, and they're like, why would Tony's such a bad booker? He put this match on Collision and not Dynamite. Do you want Collision to be better so you can say that it's a better show, or do you want Collision to not try to be better so that you don't have like an excuse? It makes no sense to me that
Well, you bring up a good point. AEW won both the shows, did very well this past week, including Collision. Collision had numbers I was actually surprised to see on a Saturday, and they weren't head to head with the Royal Rumble, but obviously when you have Ciampa in a title match, and on the show, I think that maybe that it was actually a solid Collision, and the ratings are showing that people are tuning in, and they did, and it was a lot more they got this past Saturday, and including Dynamite. Even though Dynamite went up, it went up not a lot, but it went up still. It's like 3 weeks in a row. Dynamite's gone up every week, so they're doing some good stuff. I think and Chris Jericho's not part of that, so that's a good thing. No.
I would expect that, like, I don't know, tonight might fall back a little bit with the few people like me that know that it's a tape show. I haven't looked at results, but like you know that Champ is not going to already lose his belt, obviously, and main event like three-way for the TNT title tonight. But yeah, I just have to assume now at this point that if there had been a title change, so to speak, people would have leaked it all over the place. I would have seen it on my Facebook feed and things like that. I don't know. Like I said, I don't look at the results, things like that. But I would hope, regardless of Olympics and everything else, that next week's Collision, the Australia Grand Slam, like that should do really well because man, they are loading up that card.
What about you talking about Collision?
Yeah.
Collision, yeah, the one for they, I mean,
I don't know,
MJF.
Sydney, I think is this year's in Australia, but like the way they're loaded, I mean, there's a chance we could see an AEW World Title change. Literally, the way they're building up Brody King at this point, I think uh, I still don't expect him to win, but I think there's a lot of believability. There's a lot of hope there. There's a lot of people want to see it. I mean,
The
and
swell
I
behind.
think I think now would be the time. If you're going to do it now.
it's it is. We've talked
The
about it from time to
groundswell
time.
behind
Like,
him is amazing.
Yeah, yeah. After what happened last week, and if you didn't see last week, there was a incredible chant at the beginning of the MJF Brody King match, and the funny thing is they just sat there and waited for it to calm down before they started, and they just let it go.
shout out to Bryce Remsburg
Yep, it was
for
F
waiting
ice.
there and even for, I mean, I don't know, like I
MJF
feel like
sitcom style
commentators
look to the
laying off.
camera.
What's that?
I said MJF sitcom style look at the camera.
No,
Yeah.
it's perfect. That 1 millisecond there, that will live forever in memes and stuff. I mean, that's such a great reaction face. But
Well,
um,
he's been out at the Super Bowl, whatever they do, the Super Bowl media scrum they had yesterday, and he talked about that, and he talked about how that they don't edit the crowds in AEW. They let them do whatever they want, and if that's what they're going to do, that's what they do. He compared it to somebody else who does edit the crowds out, which is true. I mean, we've especially, but I mean, obviously using obscene language, it's like, what can you do, But it was interesting because MJF, I don't know if you saw the pictures of him and Seth Rollins talking on Super Bowl Alley yesterday. And then they asked him about Punk, and he just said terrible things about him, and he said if he would like to beat him up if he could, and all sorts of things. He had a pretty good interview down Radio Row. So, um, but it was interesting that the couple of shots they saw him in. I saw it was like a video actually of him and MJF and Seth Rollins talking, and they were kind of like doing their characters, and then they stopped and just like smiled and shook each other's hands and stuff. But they were like playing it. They were playing it in character for the first few seconds when they met. And
I guess I'm happy that MJF is getting that kind of like exposure or whatever. When you mentioned it, that was the first time today I thought about the Super Bowl being tomorrow. I
yeah,
keep kind of completely tuning it out of my mind. But um, what like Seth Rollins at least has done like that Good Morning Football and stuff, whatever. Like
yeah.
what relevance does MJF have to the Super Bowl other than being like the champion of Tony Khan's company? But still, like if I'm like a football show, like am I like, hey, wrestler, come over and let's just randomly talk. Like I don't know, it's kind of weird to me.
It's interesting is that Katie Nolan interviewed CM Punk. You know who Katie Nolan is?
She's great.
I
Yeah.
love Katie. She interviewed Punk, and then she had Seth Rollins on after that. And apparently, when she was interviewing Punk, Punk said, "I don't know why Seth Rollins likes Chicago. He's from Iowa or whatever." And so she went and told him that, and he goes, well, listen, he goes, "I don't care if I'm from Idaho or Idaho, Iowa or Idaho. There's no, it's like, what does it matter if I pick a team? He's like kind of got defensive about it. So Katie Nolan starting some
Well,
between them. So
I will also say that unfortunately, I'm way too familiar with how close Iowa and specifically Davenport are to Chicago. So, um, like, yeah, it's across the Mississippi, but like it's the closest team. So that's who
Yeah,
you root
yeah,
for.
yeah. So shut up,
And
punk. You don't know what you're talking
yeah.
about, you know? Yeah, yeah. But it's funny that they, that was all going down on Radio Row yesterday. So, I'm excited, but uh, Dynamite and Collision both have increased their ratings in the last couple of weeks. And I think people are finally, you know, more wrestling, less talk, Get a 3-hour SmackDown last night. I can't even remember how many matches were on it, but
I
you know,
agree with that, but I also have liked that they've let MJF do like a couple of like the in-ring promos to like start shows, and they've done a little more character work with like what they're doing right now with like Swerve and how that all kind of mixes together.
yeah.
I obviously like I've always thought Andrade's been a really good wrestler, but he's never been my favorite. And I love that they gave him a dirty win. It's nice to see like it feels like things are freshening up. You have a legitimate contender now in Brody King. You're probably going to have Andrade challenging for the title at Revolution. It seems like this is a really good groove that they're in right now with making things different. And like we were alluding to there, like, I mean, I really think it doesn't happen often in wrestling and specifically AEW. Like once in a while, you got to give that surprise title change. And I don't think anybody would expect that MJF's title reign would end not even 2 months in or whatever, especially with the next big show being Revolution on his birthday and all that stuff. But uh, give it to Brody King. Let him have a month reign and drop it to Andrade or something. Like I don't even care. Like I just think it's sometimes you do have to just abandon your long-term plans and listen to the crowd.
Listen to the people. Yes. If
Yeah.
you listen to the people, WWE does it and had to do it a couple
Mm.
times, well, not often, but
Mm.
when they got Brian Danielson, when that happened, they did. But beyond
Yes,
that,
that one time they listened 13 years
I was
ago.
gonna say that just made me think of the first time that Roman Reigns won the Royal Rumble and they did not listen
no,
and still did that.
boo.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. It's
But look,
it would
11
be
years later, and he's celebrated in Philadelphia.
yeah.
Well, he was. So yeah, that interesting. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's exciting, and I think, like you said, it's interesting that Andrade comes in, the first time he came in there and he got absolutely no push. And now he comes in this time and they're throwing him in with the main eventers. And, Rob, you and I talked about it. I thought maybe that him and Swerve may have worked together in NXT at one time, but maybe they didn't because Swerve was there after, I'm guessing. But I think he's doing a great job. I mean, he obviously is a great wrestler. I don't know about these women on the ring side that they keep bringing in every time he goes out and does selfie pictures with him in the middle of the matches and stuff. But
I think they got to do a little more brainstorming with that to kind of at
yeah,
least keep things fresh or whatever. Like I mean, the first time they did it, it was very obvious it was a plant, and now it's not even actually with this week, if I'm not mistaken, aside from that match, were there any fans on the floor at the Palms?
I don't
They
think
just
so.
brought them
Yeah,
in for that match, and otherwise, I don't think there were fans on that level at all. So,
it looked like they had
um,
like a handler with the AEW was down the line from them too when they were standing there. So
yeah, which I really liked the look, and I mean, well, obviously we're gonna get that look again tonight with the taped collision from Vegas, but I love the look of that theater, hard cam shooting from the stage, having that crowd in the background and stuff. Like it feels good. There's so many WWE drones this week that are hating, like, oh, it's 2,000 people. Blah, blah. Like, I don't care. Like, it sounds good on TV. I like watching the intimate venues and all that kind of stuff. So
if they
people
got
can
that,
hate on that all they want, but I would rather see 2,000 people in a sold out theater than even if they had put like 8,000 people in the KeyBank Center. Like this week still looks cooler than a crowd that would be 4 times as big in a crazy
You,
giant.
you missed that discussion, Artis, when I said, whereas you had the stadium they built in Riyadh that looked and sounded empty.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I didn't go back to like look, but I like seeing those clips or whatever with all those there's a reason why you put those lights on all those seats. The same way that there was a reason decades ago that like in Hamilton at the Cops Coliseum they had like the chiclet colored seats or whatever to like give you that illusion that it's full when it's not full.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's going to be an issue anytime soon, but like there's even like different colored seats kind of with the new Bill Stadium. So like I don't know. Yeah, they didn't. I don't think they fooled too many people on that, but people that claimed that was a sellout, no.
And the funny thing is the next morning they had cranes in there to wreck the stadium. So they built it in what 36 days, and now they're wrecking it. And they're gonna. I thought they would leave it for WrestleMania, but heck, it's prime real estate, I guess, in the desert. So you gotta, put
It
something.
reminded me a little bit when I saw the shape of it and stuff. It reminded me a little bit of the setup in the parking lot of Caesars for WrestleMania 9, which unfortunately does not exist anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's that whole stadium situation is weird. And like, I don't know. I can't believe that there's going to be a WrestleMania there too. But
Yeah. So that did you?
but then again, I don't know. Did Triple H or Steph take any pictures with our racist president this week? Oh, sorry. Did I say that?
You may have. So did you, one thing I didn't want to mention that I mentioned earlier, but did you get a chance to see those fireworks coming off the top of the buildings after the Royal Rumble? They had the whole cityscape. They had like the tallest buildings were shooting fireworks off the top of them. To me, it looked like they were being attacked, but that was how they celebrated it, by putting like fireworks displays off. And it was like, we're talking like 8 or 9 buildings were shooting fireworks off the top of them. So yeah, that was
Oh,
kind
the
of
one thing I was gonna say, I heard what you're saying about like the Power Rangers outfits for the women.
yeah.
The one thing just to add to that is that the women themselves are responsible for those and don't get any kind of reimbursement or anything on that. So shout out to the women for getting those outfits for themselves.
I heard Sol Ruco didn't even know she was going to be in the Royal Rumble, so she had to scramble to get something to cover all of her body.
Oh, and then whose idea was it for her to try to do that finishing move on the apron for the finish? The dumbest decision, and putting whatever agent came up with that or okayed it or anything like.
I heard she was against it too. I saw a thing where
Good.
she tried to
It's
talk.
stupid. Like it's one like in a Rumble match. There's plenty of things you shouldn't do at all, but there's zero logic in doing that move at that time. The chances of you not eliminating yourself are 2% or whatever. Um, I don't know. And I think, in fairness, I think I only saw like a screenshot of that, but like I've seen the move plenty of times, and just why would you do that? Like, you're trying to lose. Did you bet against yourself?
Obviously, you're not winning, so you might, if you're going to go out in style, I guess, go out with your finisher. Yeah, that was there's a lot of things like Brock Lesnar no selling for Ilya Dragunov, when Dragunov is just going bananas on him and he just stops and spins around, throws him in the corner and destroys him. There was just a lot of, and then Brock Lesnar being eliminated off camera, which was even, there were some moments.
The one thing I'll say that I know you mentioned earlier too, the huge surprise of Brie Bella. I didn't even watch the Rumble, and there was probably 3 days this week that the freaking Brie mode song was in my head, and I hated every second of it. It got in my head, and I didn't even hear it live. Like I didn't even watch the show, and I still like. It's probably going to happen again now that I just mentioned it. So.
Oh, now, if you didn't see it, Nikki came out and brought Brie out on Monday Night Raw, and now they're going for the women's tag division. So that's their that's what they get, So
I was kind of hoping for everybody's sake that was just a one-off, but
go home after it and don't come back.
Yeah, just a Rumble appearance, but not an actual return.
Someone's got to be a breadwinner in that family, right? I'm sure Brian Danielson's made enough money, but that was and that Obafemi and his walk, that were the two big surprises, and that, or sorry, what's his face from AEW, who's
Royce Keys.
Yeah, Royce Keys.
What is this whole deal with acknowledging somebody's former name and then immediately changing it?
Yeah, they showed his old name. It was like, that was weird.
Honestly, don't even acknowledge the old name. Like, I mean, I don't want to. I don't want them to ignore his past and where he came from and all of these things. But if you're like, either keep the name or just debut him with his new name. Not like, oh, we're gonna give you 5 seconds of a Tron that says your old name, and then we're gonna transition. Be like, hey, everybody, just as a reminder. I think I mentioned this like last week. Like, just as a reminder, we give people fake names, and so like that was his fake name before, and this is his new fake name. You know, and then we'll go watch WWE Unreal, where Colby Lopez will be talking about all, like, I don't know, like, I
Yeah.
understand, like, we're at a point where like everybody knows the deal in wrestling or whatever, but I still hate little things like that that just aren't necessary.
Yeah.
You didn't have to acknowledge the Hobbs name. Like, you never used to do that.
Never
Uh,
did it. I've never seen them acknowledge, except for like maybe when Scott Hall came back as Scott Hall, and it's like, well, we're gonna have to keep him at that name. I'm guessing someday if Moxley ever goes back, he'll have to be known as. I can't imagine to bring him back as Dean, but I could be wrong though.
I that one I don't think we'll ever know the answer to, because I legitimately don't ever see him going back there. He's one that I can't possibly imagine that happening with, but certainly there's plenty of examples of that, and it's nice to see that Matt Cardona is Matt Cardona.
Yeah.
So
Oh, like what, 3 weeks earlier, he was Zack Ryder when he showed up. That one surprise show up when who was it? Was it John Cena was picking? Oh no, who it was a mystery partner, mystery opponent for I can't remember who he wrestled, but it was definitely Zack Ryder when he showed up like a month before he came back as Matt
was
Cardona.
it was it LA Knight?
Was it? I can't remember. It was he was
Uh,
like we have a he was open challenge to anybody, and he came. Oh, and you know what? It was for was it it was either Ilya Dragunov or it was Sami Zayn when they had the U.S. title and they were doing the Open Challenge. He definitely was one of them, and of course that immediately meant that he was that he was coming back, and thank God that he let him use his real name, even though he really hasn't done anything since he's been back. So he did he was in the Rumble for I don't know a little bit, but
if people haven't, people should follow him on social media. They always, I mean, they should have been doing that since he introduced the internet title all those years ago. But the thing he did this week with like the U.S. and U.K.
The Sports
snacks
Bible,
yeah.
the Snack
the
Wars.
Chelsea
Yes.
bun,
Yep.
Yeah,
hilarious.
and I don't know if you guys saw on the Unreal. I don't know if you watched the second season of Unreal, but Chelsea Green has taken offense to something that Michael, what's his name?
Michael
He's
P.S. Hayes.
Yeah, Michael PSA said about how she's the person there to get other bigger stars over, and he said that on the Unreal show, and she's taken offense to that. She feels that she should be, and I don't know. I mean, but that's
it's not surprising that like they feel that way. It's not something that you need to say with a camera on you, and I think it's also like, look at how popular things that she's doing are. Just because maybe you penciled her in for that kind of a role in WWE doesn't mean that you have to stick with it. Like, again, you got to listen to the crowd or whatever. And to me, like, she's somebody that absolutely should be winning their actual like full world title at some point. And I mean, I love, like, I love that she gets to be on a big stage now and stuff. She should be a top person in that company. So entertaining, and obviously perfectly fine in the ring with compared to everybody else in the company and stuff too. So
she's
um,
always been good doing bits. I mean, she's always,
she's so entertaining.
yeah, she definitely.
I can't imagine like, just like her and Matt, like everyday life when they both get a day off together, like there's the amount of times like a fly on the wall would just be laughing at those two. Like, they're just a ridiculous, perfect couple for each other, no doubt about it.
Yeah, they went to Disney World recently and were posting a bunch of pictures from it. Obviously, people go to Disney World all the time when they live down there, but they were in Disney World with some other couple they went with, and they were just posting a bunch of pictures. And I can just imagine what it's like to be hanging out with them and stuff. But I'll just say Matt
They
Cardona's
did
the
a
lucky
lot of
man.
really, really entertaining stuff. Like specifically their run in GCW together. A lot of things that, wouldn't necessarily fly on WWE TV at this point or whatever, but those archives are all up there still for people to check out. Like, I mean, I'm very happy they're both in the spot they are, and obviously they're very happy to be there. And I mean, two awesome people, but um, I they did a lot for the indies too. That I think everybody that works on the indies will always be thankful for everything that both of them did for everybody else.
What about all Chelsea's work in TNA before she
Yeah,
came over? Man, there
yeah.
was she was very entertaining, and got stuck in some, weird angles and stuff when she was there. But yeah, I
And that's the
always
thing. I mean, like again, like obviously I prefer the AEW product, but like WWE is the place for Chelsea Green. Like she gets to do that entertaining thing where it doesn't really fly as much on a more athletic based product where you don't really carve out time for people to do crazy skits and stuff that often or whatever. She is a character first and foremost, and so it's great that she's there, and also, I mean, obviously Cardona, like for the longest time, like year after year, it's just like, all right, he's got to go back there at some point. So hopefully he actually gets to do something there. I don't necessarily think we're going to get to the point of him like winning the WWE title, but I sure would love to see it if it did happen someday.
yeah. Well,
So
you mentioned something in our private chat about this past week's Botchamania and the final 5 minutes where it's all Sunny bits, which was very, very funny, by the way. But there's
I'm
also
glad, Danny, that you mentioned that because I didn't actually. I I watched Botchamania up until like the first part's over or whatever before they go into like the longer things. And I kind of paused and I forgot about it or whatever, and then I went back late last night and watched that whole Sunny spot. And, perfect.
it was
It was
great.
so good.
But on that Botchamania,
D and Frank under the bridge singing had to be my favorite one.
so there was
I
something
have to watch it again.
there was
I'll
something
probably
on
watch
that
that.
show. Yeah, I was gonna say there was something on that show where they showed Cody Rhodes interviewing. He was talking about Matt Cardona with oh man, who was it now? Kevin Steen or Kevin Owens.
Mm.
And they were talking about, and Cody Rhodes goes to Kevin Owens. Yeah, you really didn't like him, did you? Because you said he deserves to be on the indie circuit. And he goes, no, you're getting it wrong. He was making strides on the indie circuits, before he ever went anyplace. He was doing things. He was making money. He was doing that. He was having a career before he ever was in before ever coming back to WWE. So I thought that was an interesting. I love Botchamania. Sometimes it gets a little confusing, but I definitely.
There was a clip on that show this week's episode that a friend of mine may have submitted that got in there, but um, yeah, it's entertaining. I mean, it's tough to follow that show a little bit because of how often they get copyright stricken and have to
Yeah,
repost and get a new
yeah,
account and all that stuff. But there's always gold on there. But yeah, I mean, just the last thing there with Cardona is just like obviously, like I got to work with Cardona and ESW and GCW and stuff, and I like he's such a positive person. But I there's nobody else that I can think of in wrestling who is that influential to everybody else in the locker room every single time he was there.
yeah.
And whether that was putting people over, whether that was buying people gear, showing them the ropes of like making money for themselves with the merchandise tables, drawing huge houses and stuff. Like it was the best having him on the indies. And so, like, I do miss that. I will miss that, but obviously very happy for him to be back in that spot. But I can't think of anybody else who's had that kind of an impact on every single aspect of the indie scene, especially behind the scenes, that he did.
And do
Um,
you think, and it'll probably mean nothing in his WWE run right now, because I mean,
yeah, I mean, I doubt they'll acknowledge it too much or whatever, but I mean, it's just if you ask any, like he worked for, so I would love to know like the amount of independent promotions he took a booking with over those 5 years or whatever. um and I challenge anybody to find one person on the roster of any of those indie feds that would have anything other than extremely positive things to say about him. So
yeah,
he deserves all those accolades.
yeah, he's a good dude, and hopefully, you know what, comes out in the Vince McMahon black bodysuit, I'd be happy. I love, if he got to do some of even a quarter of the things he did on the indies, that were groundbreaking. So
Well,
yeah,
and I mean, just to mention, like again, like he's somebody that I do think, similar to his wife, fits in perfectly in WWE. Like you can go for a while, like you could go into a character-based thing with him. It doesn't have to just be like, oh, he's one of the best wrestlers or whatever. Like,
yeah,
let him do some ridiculous storylines and stuff. Maybe at some point, like him and his wife do some stuff together, like pair them up together and reunite that whole, the gimmick they had together in GCW for years or whatever. Like, working together on stuff because I mean, to me, that's how you get him to
yeah.
the next level in WWE, and you get another main eventer is to let him show his character side and all of that. Obviously, got himself over before with the Z True Long Island story, so
True.
don't just expect like oh, he comes in and he wins this match and loses this match against random people, and all of a sudden he's like the top star in the company. Like it's not going to happen that way. So
Yeah, yeah, it's a long trip. So maybe I'm expecting too much out of him now that he's been there for a month now. But yeah, he definitely I would love to see him be able to do any of the stuff he did before. So would be great. But it's not necessary. I mean, it's tough with their creative right now there. So it's right now they're focusing on, like I said, four people. Everybody else has got to vie to get in. I'm sure he'll be at WrestleMania, obviously, but I'm going to get to the point now where we do news, so then we can get out of here because it's we've gone a long time. So and basically a lot of the news is just what's coming up on TV in the next week or so. If you're going to watch Collision tonight, we got Tommaso Ciampa versus Claudio Castagnoli versus Roderick Strong, three-way for the TNT title. We got an eight-way parking lot brawl: Eddie Kingston, Ortiz, Desmond Xavier, Zachary Wentz versus Big Bill, Brian Keith, Zach Gibson, James Drake. Kevin Knight versus Scorpio Sky, and the Young Bucks are taking on the GOA, Tala Leon, and Bishop Khan. And the winners of that will get the winners of the Bucks versus GOA will earn a spot in a three-way tag match on Dynamite for a shot at the AEW titles. Saturday's Collision I'll let you know, was taped last Wednesday, but don't look up results, just watch it because they've been having great numbers lately. Let's keep them up. If you're going to watch Impact this week coming up, they've got four matches. These were all taped in January at the Albuquerque, New Mexico Tingley Coliseum. And that you got Nick Nemeth versus Rich Swann, Mara Sade versus Ryan Nemeth in an Albuquerque street fight. It's a guy versus a girl. That's yeah, I know that she's been getting involved in she's beating Ryan in everything he's done because they went and did challenges and she was beating him. So TNA World Champion Mike Santana speaks. He got the hell beat out of him on last week's show by a man who was fired in the Feast or Fired matches. BDE responds to Eric Young has an offer for, I don't know who this BDE is. Who's this BDE? Is he like a internet guy or something?
I think so. I don't really know though.
He reminds me of that the one guy who got killed in the Rumble last year. Speed was his name. I can't remember what his name was.
I show speed.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I mean, whoever I don't know much about the BD guy. I know he did some. I think he trained a little with Sammy Callahan, but I don't know if he's somebody that's got a big TikTok or tout account or one of those things. Who knows? But yeah, I don't know. I've heard. I haven't seen much of his work in TNA either, but I heard he's decent. So.
Well, Eric Young is said, I got an offer for you, and pushed him up against the wall. And so next week he's gonna, respond to the offer. But I think it's Eric Young's gonna want to tag with him or something to show him the ropes. Either that or they're gonna fight each other. Some eventually, anyways. But that's going on TN Impact. If you're gonna watch SmackDown next Friday, you get Jade Cargill versus Jordan Grace for the women's championship. Which is good. That's exciting. But Jade Cargill is a foot taller than Jordan Grace, but I'm sure that it has have nothing to do with the match. Rhea Ripley,
Absurd amount of strength in that match.
Yeah, seriously. Rhea Ripley and Io Sky versus Nia Jackson, Lash Legends for the WWE Women's title. So we
How
got
tall is Lash Legend? I saw a picture of her from the Rumble.
she's like 6'7", I think, something like that. She's gigantic.
Is she, or you just wanted to say those numbers?
6'7". I was trying to do it. No, I have no idea how tall she is, but she played basketball in college. I think she played pro too for a short time. So, but she was very, I mean, she got 5 eliminations. They're trying to make her. So she's one of the ones they're trying to quote unquote make. We'll see if it works. Cody Rhodes versus Jacob Fatu versus Sami Zayn, a triple threat to qualify for the Elimination Chamber match. So that's 3 matches that are pretty good so far on next week's SmackDown on Sci-Fi.
6'0".
6'0".
Okay.
Is that
I
it?
guess she's just really around other people that aren't very tall, but
She's got those big rubber heels, you know. Jade Cargill has got to be taller than her then.
I think Jade's like 5'11" or something.
It's all camera tricks. So we got Alexa 5'10", really. Alexa Bliss versus Julia versus Zelina in a triple threat for the women's elimination chamber. Trick Williams versus Ray Phoenix. That'll be live from Dallas, Texas at the American Airlines Center.
Oh, so they do put Ray Phoenix on TV.
Yeah, every once in a while. They put him on to lose. I thought they were going to tag him and Penta eventually, but that seemed like it was like an idea that just hasn't happened yet.
Was Penta in the Rumble?
Penta was, yeah.
Okay, good.
So a week from today, the February 14th edition, that's the Valentine's Day, guys. Make sure you get your girl cards, chocolate, and flowers. But a week from today, we get the AEW Collision from Australia, the Grand Slam edition of Collision with MJF versus Brody King for the AEW Championship. Hangman Page versus Andrade El Idolo, which if they're that's going to be a barnstormer. Tony Storm and Orange Cassidy versus Marina Shafir and Wheeler Yuta in a tornado tag match. The person who is pinned or submitted will have their head shaved. So I know that we've seen the fake shaved heads of everybody. So I think probably Tony could get away with it, but I'm most likely it'll probably be Wheeler Yuta because he looks like a whole bunch of hair whenever you look at him.
He needs a haircut, yeah.
Can you imagine a combination of the FU Yuta and then Bald Chance?
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
He'll be the most over guy in wrestling at that point, yeah.
F Bald Yuta.
So we got Will Nightingale, Harley Cameron versus Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford for the AEW women's tag titles. Moxley's taking on Takeshita for the AEW Continental Championship, and that's going to be. I think
that's
it's going to be
a television show.
That's television show.
That to me is more intriguing than any. That's more intriguing to me than most pay-per-views that any wrestling company, including AEW, has put out in recent years. That is a stacked card.
And you know the amazing, and the thing is I believe it's being taped like a couple hours before we see it, so it will be quote unquote.
Well, they're probably like what 13 hours ahead or something
like that.
So yeah.
So they got to tape it in advance, but it will be.
Don't go on Facebook and ruin it, people. Let people just watch it.
Yeah. So so now I'm going to jump into some news. This past week, New Japan Pro Wrestling issued the statement on Tuesday to announce that Takahashi is leaving the company after consideration and discussions with New Japan Pro Wrestling management. Takahashi, who is a longstanding member of New Japan roster, will be
still going to be there. That's crazy.
Yeah,
they have lost and are losing everybody.
He's got 1 match left. It'll be February 11th with New Japan, and then he's done. So the live crowd that attended AEW Dynamite in Vegas this past week garnered some mainstream media attention. The crowd's loud F Ice chant before the main event on Wednesdays has led to coverage from NBC, from all Scripps News, all these news sources picked it up, and it was loud, that's for sure. And it's not the first time. I mean, obviously, Brody King had the Abolish Ice shirt on, a month ago, I think it was, maybe 2 months ago.
He's done 2 shirt fundraisers, I think, raising over $100,000 for that.
And so that's what they chant now. And it's like they got to strike while it's hot. That's for sure, folks. AEW, we'll see what happens, I guess. A week from today, he could win the title. Could walk off a Collision.
It would get so much buzz.
Yeah, it would be huge.
Can you imagine a title change on TV, let alone Collision?
Interesting. You got to do that stuff sometimes to make those shows in the future seem like anything can happen.
I think Collision actually maybe drew as many people that were watching Dynamite this past week. It was up around the same numbers. So,
Well, even that card you went through for tonight too. I mean, it's really nice to see like the Bucks and people on Collision. Obviously that wasn't happening when Collision had to be made for the whiny guy to get his own show and not have anybody that he didn't like on it. So it's nice to see them loading up the cards in those aspects too. So
definitely. So
real quick, not to totally distract, because we talked about, we're talking about the
does this
whole.
have to do with Bojangles?
No.
Okay. Good.
Another unsung moment and hero from that thing, going back to MJF, him passing out in 2 seconds was gold.
It was
Absolute
great.
gold.
Yeah, I mean, it literally like I didn't. That was one thing I really didn't like going into that show is that there were two eliminator matches on the same TV show. I think the eliminator match thing needs to be a lot more rare. Um, Nice to see people winning them, but I don't, especially with the people that won those matches on Wednesday, then getting their title shots like a week and a half later. Are they gonna win again? Like I don't love the way that that falls into booking. I really wish that Tony would not do that kind of thing too often. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I felt going into that match like there was a good chance that Brody was going to win, but I certainly didn't expect it to be a 77-second match. So,
well, I mean,
it's great, and MJF was perfect in every aspect of that. So,
he got, I mean, yeah, it's a good explanation for why he lost so fast, what happened before the match. So I think that he, I, I don't know. I'm happy for,
maybe
the funny
maybe there's
thing.
even something you can do storyline wise with like the how many times has MJF mentioned that he was the longest reigning AEW World Champion? Like, have him lose the title after not even 2 months or whatever, like, and use that as another storyline point in the future. He doesn't need to. This doesn't need to be another year-long reign, and I don't think anybody thinks it's going to be. I mean, I think there's plenty of other people that will hold that title this year, including Osprey. But uh, I give it to Brody King for a little bit. Give it to Andrade for a little bit. Like
Yeah, I think
let's get some
Andrade,
new faces on there.
you could have Andrade take it off Brody King. I wouldn't have a problem with that at all. That would.
You would put it back on Samoa Joe. You put it back on MJF. You put it back on Hangman. You've teased putting it back on Swerve. And nothing against these people. Like I would love to see another Swerve reign at some point, but not now. I'm all about getting new people their first AEW World Title reign.
And Andrade was there and did nothing for 2 years, and now he's back. And
he put on a couple bangers, but yeah, he certainly wasn't booked like a main event challenger. So
he is now. So kudos to them. So you get back to the news here for a second. WWE referee Daphne LaShawn, or Asia Smith, I think they call her on the show. She announced via social media that a house fire claimed the lives of 4 of her family members late Wednesday night. She lost her grandmother, grandfather, uncle, cousin in the house fire, and she's got a GoFundMe campaign to planning for 4 funerals. So it's really a terrible tragedy.
I saw Bailey immediately put in $5,000 onto that GoFundMe. So shout out to Bailey on that.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some people. I mean, even like for as much as we say negatively about Chris Jericho and stuff, he's always participating in these type of things and stuff too. But it's nice to see the wrestling community helping each other out with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's just a really sad story.
Yeah.
So yeah. So some other news, and we'll get out of here. Former WWE Tag Champions could soon be making a major move to AEW. The Inspiration, it looks to be in talks with AEW right now, coming off of TNA's debut and dropping the titles at TNA being their last show as well. We will see. This is just a rumor right now, but there's been a lot of Inspiration talk, I guess, in the back of WWE.
I could see them showing up briefly to do like an Australia match. I don't know if I could see them coming in long term. I don't know if they want a long term deal anywhere too, but
yeah.
To me, like those two were so entertaining in WWE. And again, that's talking about like the WWE like characters versus the AEW wrestling and stuff. Like I don't know how well they would fit in like long term in AEW. I'd love to see an appearance though. So
Definitely. So there's talk of them bringing him in. So we'll see what happens. I mentioned earlier, Kelly Kincaid's run with WWE is coming to an end. The NXT backstage interviewer announced on Friday her contract with WWE will expire February 14th. Valentine's Day present there. Miss Kincaid, what was her name again?
Quinn McKay in
Quinn
ROH.
McKay.
Yeah.
That's how we ended up getting her on the roller derby show because we went by her, her real name. And but she's in a relationship with Elton Prince. They just had a child back in September, so we wish the best for her. I don't know why they're letting her go because she does a pretty good job. So, but Elton Prince may not be back
I
for a
think all
while.
these companies, honestly, like they have so much on-screen talent, but there's not enough spots for all of them. And that's the same. Like, do I think that she could come in and do stuff for? Well, maybe I don't know. Maybe Tony would have her go back to Ring of Honor and do some stuff there, which would be good. But like AEW's employing Alicia Atute Friedman at this point, and how often is she on TV? Like
Yeah.
2 minutes a month. So that they don't necessarily have a need for somebody else, but hopefully Quinn or Kelly lands somewhere else.
So two more mentions and we'll get out of here. Apollo Crews made his WWE television return on Friday. The pro wrestling star appeared alongside Matt Cardona in a backstage segment on the February 6th episode of SmackDown. He hadn't been, Cruz has not appeared on WWE TV since January of 2025. I believe he did go down to NXT. I don't think they're counting that though. But he ended up being he had sidelined with a majority of the year due to a torn pec. So that really explains why he was out. But he has been back in ring action since November, worked AAA events, and has wrestled in matches in WWE main events since his return. So he has been on WWE TV, just not on SmackDown until last night. And if you watched the Rumble this past week, you saw Tiffany Stratton make a return to WWE, did not win the Rumble for the women, though Liv Morgan did, obviously. Liv Morgan, who's finished second twice, finally got the nod. And Liv was hurt, I think, last year. Maybe that's why Liv didn't. I'm trying to remember when she got hurt last year, but she was hurt for a while last year. And now being her first opportunity to, I don't think she's announced who she's taking on yet. I can't remember. I know she did an interview segment, but I can't remember if she said she was picking a champion to take on yet. But Randy Orton is already He's already qualified to be in the next Elimination Chamber pay-per-view coming up to be one of the pods. It's February 28th, the last day of February. So that's all the news I've got. I can't think of anything else going on except for the Olympics right now. And hockey's done, and the Sabres, of course, end the before the break with a loss to Pittsburgh. Boo, but they've been fun to watch. When
I mean, again, selfishly, like that was a fun day of watching John Wroblewski coaching in the afternoon for Team USA, and then watching Dan Muse coaching the Penguins against the Sabres, who Muse was the coach for the first 2 years I was in Chicago when we won and everything, and he's doing an incredible job with the Penguins. So happy to see that. Not happy to see a Sabres loss, but I don't know. It's so weird. Like I'm really glad the NHLers are in the Olympics, but such a long break is just so strange for how many players now are just gonna sit around and watch Netflix and I don't know.
The
I
Olympics.
was waiting for you to say they're all going to sit around and watch heated rivalry.
Probably. I mean, I'm due for a rewatch already, so I'm in the category of people suggesting that people watch it. So
There you go. There's nothing wrong with it. My daughter actually ordered it on Amazon, and the only reason I know is because we share my Amazon account. So she's like, it's fun, you'll like it. It's like, okay,
the rivalry stickers right there. Nice.
there you go. All right. So
Available
My
on
wife read all
somebody's
6
Etsy.
books on vacation.
what'd you
My
say?
wife read all 6 books on vacation.
Oh, really?
I haven't done any of the reading at this point because I don't know, like things are going to be spoiled, but I also I want to be able to watch the seasons of the TV show without knowing everything that's going to happen. But I've thought about doing some of the reading, but there is and always has been a problem in hockey culture I have no problem saying that. I have witnessed it firsthand. It is really good for hockey and for sports, that something like this exists. It's a little extreme at times and stuff, and it's more entertaining than anything. I didn't think I would be talking about heated rivalry on the Pain Clinic, but it's a good thing. Like it's great to see like NHL players coming out and saying how much they've loved watching it and stuff, and because it's acknowledging that um, hockey buses and locker rooms and stuff can still be a little bit behind the times compared to a lot of other aspects of society,
Sure.
and a lot of aspects of society in the divided states of America are not improving currently, but this is a good thing for it's a good thing for more acknowledgement and everything else, more inclusion, all these kinds of things. So highly recommend it. Just probably not something that's comfortable to watch with like, I don't know, your parents or whatever. Like it's a little
Yeah.
it gets a little not PG at times.
Yeah.
We'll say
Yeah.
that.
I mean, yeah, I've heard some women say there's
Watch
some.
it with your favorite MAGA family member.
There you go. Yeah.
I can't imagine. I can't imagine that, but
So, well, we're going to get out of here. I want to thank everybody for who's been following along the whole time. There's been a handful of you still in the chat room.
2-0 USA.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. All right. It came back on, but they're still doing, I'm like watching the wrong channel because they're still doing freaking ski jumping. So, and we're going to get out of here. We've got a couple weeks till next weekend's going to be big for AEW as well as this month goes by very fast. We're in the 7th day. Tomorrow is Super Sunday.
I I've forgotten that the Super Bowl's tomorrow. After being reminded of that like an hour ago. Crazy to think like when they announced GCW's return to Rochester, like that's not till February 27th. That feels like
Oh,
that's probably like 5 months
hey, we
away or
might as well
something.
mention Brody Lee Jr. is going to be on the show.
Yes. Not wrestling.
He's not 18 yet, right?
Just so no, he's not. So New York State Athletic Commission, don't worry about that. But I'm sure they'll be worried about all sorts of other things. But yeah, no, that's I know they announced a world tag title match with now AEW superstars Alec Price and Jordan Oliver defending their titles against the GCW World Champion Atticus Cogar and the GCW Ultraviolent Champion Otis Cogar. And I know there's a lot of announcements that should be coming this week after they get through they're doing the Jersey J Cup this weekend, which is a really fun tournament. That was night one was last night. Night two's tonight. It's a 20-person tournament. So get through that, then we'll know more about the Rochester show. But honestly, like when I heard February 27th, I was just like, that's a long time away. And even if you had said that to me like this morning, like if you had said that to me like the first second I woke up, I'd be like, well, that's probably like 3 months away. It's 20 days away. That's not even 3 weeks away at this point. Holy cow.
It's
So
2 weeks from Friday.
that is nuts.
Yeah.
But yeah, Water Street on the 27th, be a fun time as always. So
Yeah. And see, I'm guessing Brody won't be coming alone from Florida. Mom, I'm sure, will be coming as well. So you can catch up with Amanda a little bit.
it'll be a good time.
Yeah.
Good
So
time. Yeah,
we're going to get out of here.
Looking forward to it. Always good to see. I mean, especially like it's almost funny to see him listed as like Rochester's own since 90 something percent of his life has been lived in Florida, but it'll be great to see that reaction from the crowd. So I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Very cool. So we're going to get out of here. Thank you guys in the chat room. We'll see you next week. Same bet time, same bet channel.